Hello, I'm Daisy. Thank you for joining me. You're in my How to Learn Tarot playlist. So if you've been following along, we have known that this fool has been going through a lot. And so, a little recap. This is my playlist for giving a little explanation on how to understand the major arcana of the tarot deck. 78 cards, but 22 of them are called the major arcana. And I'm going through what is known as the Fool's Journey, where it is a metaphor about the experiences that we go through in life, from the innocence to that full transformation that comes along with every experience that we have, and to get to this place. So you thought the devil was bad and allowing and helping us confront those inner fears and sense of hopelessness and those self-limiting beliefs and restrictions, but guess what? We went from that and jumped right into the tower and just got too big for our britches, and God came in and said, hey, you know, time to get a reality check, and time to let go of those false belief systems that you have and come from a place of integrity and truth. And the good news, that there is hope, because that led us to that place where now we come across the star. And so the star is about hope and inspiration, serenity, peace and faith, and all those beautiful things that we get here. And like I've mentioned in my other videos, if this is the first time that you're visiting my channel, one of the things that I tell you when you're doing tarot and you get a deck is go ahead and first take a look at what your feelings are about each card and what these symbols are bringing out of you. And then after that, you've done that, then go ahead and take a look at what the definitions are by the author. So the other thing that when you look at this, the first thing that we see is the numerology aspect, and each number has a vibration. So this has the vibration of the number 17, and the number 17 is all about that spiritual awakening and the desire for love and peace and relationships. And so when you take down that, as I mentioned before, you can take any big digit and bring it down to the base numbers from 0 to 9, actually. And this one is representative of the number 1 plus 7, which is 8. And 8 is about love and peace. And 8 is also associated with the star of Venus. So we've got, interesting that it has a star and it has 8 points on there. Some of the other things that the star is associated with is with Aquarius. And so being it's Aquarius, it is an air sign. So all these energies and vibrations that the zodiac of Aquarius and the element of air can be applied to the star card here as well. And because we know that it is also an air sign, we know that Archangel Gabriel, the messenger angel, is associated with the element of air, so therefore it is associated with the star. And also the star is associated with Saturn as well. And Saturn brings us into more structure. And the one thing about Saturn, that energy, it is one that gives us what I call order after we've learned hard lessons. And isn't that interesting that the star comes after the tower? So definitely Saturn is showing up, kind of saying, well, this is the lessons that you've learned. You've learned them the hard way. You've learned them because you've gone through them. And so now we find this serenity and this peace over here with the star. So it's appropriate that it would have Saturn as its ruling planet. So let's look at some of the symbols now on the face here. We start here with the star. It's an 8-point star. And so immediately we see here some of the most common things that's associated with that. As I mentioned earlier, the star of Venus, it's about love and peace. But also here it's about purity. It's also about a complete cycle and divine guidance. So the star is representing aspiring for that love and peace in the world, and love and peace in your heart as well. And we see this also, that there's next to this beautiful big star, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars. And that could be representing the 7 chakras and an aligning with the 7 chakras, which also could mean healing and divine healing and a divine guidance that we're receiving at this stage of life, or at the stage that you find yourself here in this situation. Then we see this woman here, and she's at the water's edge. But we'll look at her pose first. She is down on the ground with her knees down, and she's lower to the ground, and she has looking down. So she's in a very vulnerable position. She is now allowing vulnerability. And that is really something that a lot of people struggle with, just being vulnerable. And a lot of people are guarded, but this here is a representation that in that vulnerability, and we show this willingness to just be who we are and exposing ourselves. What can you do? What can you do? Here we are. Here I am. All of me. What are we going to do? You're not hiding anything. This is me. I'm giving you all I got. And so this person is at that stage saying, I come to you the way I am. The other thing we see is that there's 2 water jugs. Holding these water jugs could be representative of consciousness, subconsciousness. We've gotten to that place of that maturity and that learning in this stage and these experiences of life. We're now bringing this truth and understanding and this universal healing that I'm bringing now after all these experiences. I am healed, and I'm bringing truth, and that's the only way I want to play the game now, right? And that's the only way you should play the game. And with this, if there's a sense that these jugs are never going to run out of water. So there's this sense of the cycle of life continuing and ebbing and flowing here. So we have that there is harmony with the conscious and subconscious, and it's all blending in now into this perfect cycle. And then the other thing, of course, we've got the blend of the earth and the water, this harmony and this balance. And lastly, that I'd like to point out is we come to see this bird here at the tree here, and a symbol of divine guidance. And again, we talked about Archangel Gabriel, the messenger here. Now there's wisdom to share, and also your burdens have been lifted. So now you're approaching life from a more carefree point of view, and with this freedom from any restrictions. No more things binding you that we saw back at the devil. Remember that? Okay, so now how do we interpret this in a reading? How do we interpret the star sign in a reading? So this is about being blessed, and all the difficulties now are disappearing, and things are going to become clearer now. We also are sharing here some things are going to get better communication, better love, better hope, better health is now presenting themselves for you at this situation. There's going to be gifts and guidance and new experiences as well, and that you are now on the right path. Remember, we saw that you weren't on the right path before, but now things have lined up, and now you are on that right path, and you are being protected in the things that you are pursuing as well. So how do we interpret this if it's reversed? On the reverse here, there's a sense that there's a lack of motivation, and probably a little pessimism, maybe an inability to accept help from others as well. And you're not connecting with your intuition, and you're unable to make things work right now. And maybe there's some issues with your health as well, and your mind, and just the whole general not feeling connected spiritually as well. Could also mean that the timing is not right, or that there's the lack of opportunity. You're feeling helpless, maybe feeling that there's some setbacks, a little bit of depression setting in, maybe a couple of those things. Maybe you feel like someone's been disloyal to you, and there's just a whole general sense of despair, and not kind of seeing that way through, because there's just too much between the material issues and the emotional issues, and everything's just overwhelming. Okay, so what happens next? as the Fool moves onward. Who does the Fool come next to? What's the next experience? We've got the light of a star, but we might get more revealed with the light of the moon. So join me on the next video as I show you how to interpret the symbols of the moon card.